We'll update that, and it does look a little bit stronger now. So Irisburg at 332. That's in roughly about 3 minutes or so. Boxwood at around 340. Axton at around 343. Axton Baptist Church at around 344 as this lifts up to the north. Again, tornado warning up until 345 for that portion of Henry County. We also have another tornado warning for a separate area of rotation. This is just about ready to move in to the city of Martinsville. So if you're in Martinsville right now, you need to take your tornado safety precautions. You need to get into your area of safety. Right now, in for Martinsville, if there was a tornado with this cell, it would be right around the intersection of 220 and looks like Philpott Highway. If there was anything, it has just crossed over that, and it's not that far away from the south side of Martinsville. So I'm going to track this one going on up. Let me remove the other track. I'll push this one up to the north here at also about 20 miles an hour. This is going to take it right in for Martinsville, right into the town of, or right into the city of Martinsville. So the Henry County Health Clinic at around 338, Martinsville by around 339, Martinsville General Hospital at around 339, Jones Creek at around 341, and the Woodland Heights Church also at around 347. Again, this one is heading directly in to the city of Martinsville. So if you're in Martinsville right now, you definitely need to be in your safe place right now. Basement, interior room, hallway, closet. The object is to get as many walls between you and the outside as possible for to protect yourself from any flying debris that may be going on right now. And our third tornado warning, this one just outside of Oak Level, this one also moving up to the north at around 20. So I'm going to take the track off of the other one. We'll push this one on up to the north here at about 20. So this one will be pretty much Oak Level right now. At the Henry Elementary School at around 337, Piney Grove Church at around 348, Sidnersville by around 351, Calvary Church at around 353. Again, all three of these tornado warnings, which are scrolling at the bottom of your screen right now, are going to be active until 3:45 p.m. I know that we're interrupting the game. You can see the game. It is double boxed. You can see the score. You can see everything going on with it. You just can't hear the game. It's because we've got 3 active tornado warnings in progress. And it is our policy that whenever we get a tornado warning, we're going to pop on to protect that life and property. No indication that any of these are reaching the ground. However, I'll also say that there looks to be another storm just to the south of the Carolina line that also is producing a little bit of rotation as well. We'll watch that. So we've got 3 distinct areas of rotation right now. One right around, or just to the northwest there of Sandy Level. One outside of Martinsville, just about ready to move into the city of Martinsville. And one just outside of Oak Level, just to the north of Bassett, that's going to be moving on over into southern areas around Franklin County. Let me go ahead and switch over. We'll show you the velocity mode of radar right now so you can kind of get the more traditional view. All of these storms are lifting on up to the north and also towards the east, roughly at about 20 to 25 miles an hour or so. Rocky Mount, if you're watching in Rocky Mount, you're not under a tornado warning right now, but you've noticed that that cell around Oak Level, which looked pretty good on velocity or reflectivity not too long ago, is going to start to lift on up towards the north. If you're in Martinsville right now, you are under a tornado warning, and we definitely need you in your safe place right now. The area of rotation and spin was going to be approaching the city of Martinsville, or right around the south side, and then lifting on up to Martinsville. With more, here's George Flickinger.
All right, thanks, Will. So we're going to continue to keep you updated here. Will was showing you the 3 tornado warnings. And what I want to do here, we're going to reset, and we're going to say, I'm going to stop this, pause this radar loop here for a second and reset this. As you know, we've had some rain. We've had rainfall totals vary. We've had about ½ inch of rain in parts of Lynchburg, where right now there are actually 3 tornado warnings for 3 separate spinning areas that we're watching. This is in Martinsville, around Martinsville and Franklin County. Looking ahead, we'll watch as these make their way toward the town of Rocky Mount, also toward Smith Mountain Lake, and eventually toward Pittsylvania County. Let's go in for a closer look at these 3 separate rotations. I'm going to go to the top one first, the one that is near Oak Level. If you live in Oak Level, you do need to be in your place of tornado safety in case there is a tornado which develops out of this storm. when I'm looking at the radar presentation of this, and you've probably heard me say this before, it does not look like say a Captain Obvious tornado. I do not see a super distinct area where I can say that there is definitely a tornado on the ground. There is some broad rotation up at cloud level, but this does not look like a storm that has a tornado with it. If there is going to be a tornado within the storm, here, I'll grab the arrow and I'll show you. It is going to be in this location here. Right now, there does look like that there is at least some broad rotation near Oak Level. So for safety's sake, we do recommend being in your place of tornado shelter. So this is along 220 near the Franklin County and Henry County line. Be in your place of tornado shelter in case there actually is a tornado with that. This cell, which is over Martinsville, and I'll animate this one for you, there is an area of rotation with it, not super strong, but I can make out where up at cloud level, or at least where the radar is detecting this at cloud level, you can make out an area of spin, and this is going to be right in here. This is coming in to, say, the west side of Martinsville. If you're in Martinsville, you also need to be in your place of tornado shelter. If there is a tornado with this storm, it's actually going to make its way very close to downtown Martinsville. This part of the storm right through here, this is about 2 miles southwest of the downtown district of Martinsville. So between the 220 bypass and downtown Martinsville, that's where this possible tornado would be located. We're calling this a possible tornado because this has not been confirmed on the ground, but up at cloud level, there is rotation. There is also this part of the rotating cell, which is located southeast of the town of Martinsville. This is near the Irisburg community. So if you live in Irisburg, please also be in your place of tornado shelter in case a tornado does end up developing out of this. There is an area of spin, there is an area of rotation with the cell near Irisburg, and this is going to be making its way toward the Axton community. So those are 3 areas that we're watching, and there are also some areas of spin being detected in these cells just south of the state line. These are going to be located near the Price community, which is right along the state line, the Carolina and Virginia state line to the south of Martinsville. So some separate areas of rotation, but as I'm looking at these radar images here, there's not one of them that I'm looking at and definitely saying, oh yeah, that one's definitely a tornado. That one is definitely on the ground. All of this is radar indicated rotation that we are detecting. So going to reset here, and I'll pause these loops for you. So we have the multiple clusters of tornado warnings. The current time is now 3:37. The tornado warnings are until 3:45, the two that we're highlighting here. And there's also a severe thunderstorm warning, which is in effect for the cell, which is also moving into southern Henry County. So I'm going to pull some storm tracks on these. As these are not moving all that swiftly, but I am going to pull some storm tracks on these to give you some ideas of when we will see these. Oh, and we just have a 4th tornado warning has just been issued. That is for the cell, which is just south of Martinsville. So that is brand new information. We now have 4 tornado warnings for areas where there is spin being detected within these storms. These are near Martinsville right now, as you can see, near Martinsville. We have these rotating areas. So let me first take you up to the first one. And so this first warning, which is for near Oak Level, I do recommend being in your place of tornado shelter, but as I'm looking at this, the rotation looks pretty weak in Oak Level, but I recommend playing that one safe and staying in your place of tornado shelter. If you're in Martinsville, I'm seeing some broad rotation showing up on the radar, which means that the bottom of the cloud is spinning somewhat. Go and remain in your tornado safe place in Martinsville. This is near downtown Martinsville. If there is indeed a tornado which has developed out of this, Will, have you seen any reports from the National Weather Service or some of the storm spotters? Have you had any confirmation on these? And as I'm looking at this, the two most impressive looking warnings are the one just to the east of Martinsville. That one is near Irisburg. That cell is lifting to the north and east. And also just south of the Carolina state line. That one looks impressive, and that one's the freshest, the newest tornado warning, which has been issued by the National Weather Service. So Will is checking with the National Weather Service to see if we have any confirmation of what these storms are doing. But if you are in the Irisburg community, little community, there's Irisburg Road, then you do need to be in your tornado safe spot to the southeast of Chatmoss. This is going to make its way toward Axton. So if you're in Axton, it is tornado safety time for you. If this storm is producing a tornado, it is going to head your direction, and it's coming up from the southwest, like this right here. So I'm going to pull a storm track on the cell, which is near Irisburg, because this latest radar frame that I'm getting in, the rotation does look a little bit stronger. So let me pull
And George, they have expired the tornado warning for Franklin County and Henry County, so that far northernmost warning, which I think you said was probably the weakest of the three. That one has been allowed to, that one will be allowed to expire at around 3:45.
So that first warning that Will was just telling you, that was the one for Oak Level?
That was the one up towards Oak Level and,
Yes,
and
sir.
going in towards areas around Franklin County as well.
As far as some of the more impressive looking tornado warnings, as far as Axton Elementary School, the Axton community, the cell is going to be near you at 3:50. That is basically now less than 10 minutes away. We're going to see this cell near Axton. Within 10 minutes, this tornado warned storm will be crossing Highway 58. As far as the town of Martinsville, let me clear off, we have so many different lines going on this map. I'm going to temporarily turn them off for just a minute. If you're in Martinsville, as I'm looking at this, the rotating area is now passing over downtown Martinsville. This also includes near the Collinsville area. And so you start getting into downtown, the downtown area, and you've got like Church Street, you have Market Street, Armstead Street, the hospital in Martinsville. That is where this possible tornado is going to be located. I'm seeing the spinning region, the area of spinning is coming out of this area here. This is where, if there's a tornado within this storm, this is where this would be located near downtown Martinsville. And from here, we're going to see this cell lifting to the north and east. That's where that possible tornado is located, where we've just circled in green. Now let's take you back down to the newest tornado warning. It's interesting with that, there's actually a couple of separate areas which have rotation, and I'll circle these for you. There is one area of rotation here.
George, I believe they just issued a new tornado warning for Henry County and Martinsville.
And that's probably for that cell. So we'll zoom out and check that. And that's a separate weaker circulation, which I've circled there. So Will Stafford's just reporting that the new tornado warning has been issued. So let's recenter this map on the entire viewing area and reset for all of you now.
So we've got three active warnings because that northern one has been dropped.
So 3 current tornado warnings. Again, there's 4 on your screen right now, but that one at the top, that one is being canceled. So right now, we have multiple tornado warnings, which are in effect for storms that are right now near Martinsville and a good chunk of Henry County. So basically, if you live in Martinsville, you need to be in your tornado shelter in case you do end up getting a tornado out of this cell. Also, the Irisburg and Axton community, we are seeing rotation showing up there. And finally, if you're just south of Martinsville near Ridgeway, you need to be in your place of tornado shelter in case that there is a tornado that is detected from that cell. So let's take a closer inspection of these. In fact, I'm going to actually show you this map here. This map may be a little bit easier for you to make out where the warnings are located. You can see that cluster of warnings right now for Martinsville. These will eventually move toward Pittsylvania County. It's too soon to know if these would hold together or not to still have spin when they're reaching Pittsylvania County, but that would be the direction that they're going here. And I'll put an arrow on these for you. So they're moving this way here, but very, very slowly.
And George, they're going to reissue actually that northernmost storm. They're going to reissue that for another tornado warning because that spin has circled back up again.
So let's go back down to that and show you what Will was just talking about.
I don't know if my mic was on there, but they're going to reissue.
Yes, sir.
that
We heard
northern
you. Our
storm.
viewers heard you. So thank you for that, Will. Okay, so tornado warning remains in effect for Martinsville. This includes downtown Martinsville and also the Jones Creek part of the town. Get into your place of tornado shelter in case a tornado does end up spinning. As I'm looking at the cell near Martinsville, there is some rotation with it. The good news to me is when I'm looking at this does not look like a screaming obvious tornado, but there is at least broad rotation being detected at cloud level. And so that's why the National Weather Service has chosen to issue a tornado warning. The cell, which is with a tornado warning for southern Henry County, and that one is until 4 o'clock, that cell has a little bit better looking rotation in that actually it looks a bit more distinct. And it's possible that we cannot rule out a small tornado touching down out of this cell here near Price. This cell is going to move to the north and east, and that one is going to move on top of Ridgeway. So I'll pull an arrow on the screen so that you can see the direction of movement. The newest radar scan just came through, and there is still some rotation. Again, not super strong, but there is at least some mild rotation spin up at cloud level with that. Let's see. So Will, also Thomas Battle, meteorologist Thomas Battle is here as well. He's analyzing some of the things here behind the scenes. So as of this second, because some of the warnings were reissued, and can y'all confirm this, we have 2 tornado warnings at the moment. Did this get consolidated into
I believe
tornado
that
warnings?
they cleaned it up a little bit. And if we actually wanted to go over to the other computer, we've got a storm track pulled up of this one. This would the southernmost storm, the one that's now coming in out of North Carolina, is probably going to be the strongest of the 3. This one has the most impressive signature on it. This is moving up at about 20 to 25 miles an hour. Places that are going to be impacted include the Christian View Pentecostal Church, the Price community, which we've called your name out a lot over the last couple of days, Magna Vista High School, Chestnut Knob, and if this holds together, this would make a run at the Martinsville Speedway at around 411. So if you're anywhere in the path that we just highlighted, you really need to be in your safe place right now. That's a basement, interior room, hallway, closet. Get away from windows. The object is to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible to protect yourself from any flying debris. We should also mention that if that were to continue on its run north, that would make another run at downtown Martinsville as well, which has already been under 1 tornado warning today. And in fact, actually, it's still under a tornado warning right now. So a very similar kind of a situation as to what we saw the last couple of days, where these storms are just going to basically go one after the other in a line like this over and over again.
And Will and Thomas, these are some fairly slow-moving storms. They're moving about 15 miles an hour, which are not in a hurry. So that means that we have a lot of time to track them as they do move to the north and east and eventually moving toward Pittsylvania County. But right now, these are a concern for our friends, our viewers in Martinsville and southern Henry County. When I'm a little bit of good news here. When I'm checking the National Weather Service, we do not have any confirmation of a tornado actually being on the ground out of any of these. They're being watched, but right now we do not have any reports of a tornado that is touching ground this moment. All right, let's go back and up in the production booth, let's switch to our other radar source.
They did put 2 more warnings out.
And
They reissued the one just to the northwest.
So now we have a total of 4.
Now we
So-
have
we're
4
back to
again.
4.
And
Yes.
this one, the northernmost one that they have reissued for, is going to be bumping in on the Rocky Mount vicinity as well. So, and Thomas is actually over at the wall right now.
So this one just got reissued just in the last couple of minutes. That one's also still moving relatively slow. Now that one still lasts till about 4:15. The strongest one, though, I think, as y'all said, is the one that also has a severe thunderstorm warning. This one still has the most rotation on it, but it doesn't still look like it's going to be going maybe just to the south of Martinsville. That track still points it right towards Martinsville right now, if it stays on the same path that these others are. You can also see the weak rotation here with the undercell just to the east of Martinsville. So yeah, we have 4 now, back to the same 4 warnings that we had just a few minutes ago, but still the same storms, but they're just kind of letting the warnings expire and then they're issuing a new one. But as George said, yeah, the rotation at least, nothing that screams like there is a tornado on the ground, but with how active this entire week has been, definitely want to be careful with some of these storms as they're moving through. All of these, though, in Henry County, just moving out of North Carolina, starting to move out of Henry County, though, as well in the next few minutes. So it's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, you can actually see that rotation that just moved through Martinsville. You can see those where the bright green color is, just as that moved right across Martinsville. So it'll be interesting to see if we actually get any reports there of any damage. You can also see the bright green also just moving into the Price area. So that one's also trying to cross over the state line right now. So where you see those brighter colors, that's just telling us where we're seeing those higher wind gusts. And that's mostly what we're going to be concerned with in the next few minutes, probably seeing that storm be the strongest for the next few minutes. But we still have 4 active storms. So even if you're not under that storm, we want you to be getting to your safe place. There is multiple. Basically, if you're in Henry County right now, just get into a safe place that you can. And stay there until these storms do pass. Here's a timeline. We just put this on here for you. The Chestnut Knob area next about 15 minutes or so from now. The Martinsville Speedway also about 18 to 20 minutes from now. So you still got some time. Get to your safe place. Get everybody together. Get your pets, all the kids, and just get them in the safe place. Just hang out there for the next few minutes or so as this storm makes its way toward you. You've just cleared the area of the first storm, but we're going to be watching this next one moving in within the next 20 minutes. So still a pretty active day already out there for some of these storms. And you can see that rotation also trying to hold together, where you're seeing those colors come together. The red and the green shows us where the rotation is. And that right now still pretty evident just there around the Snydersville area. And yeah, we're just circling there where that rotation is for you, just to let you know. So that's going to be heading towards Snydersville as well. All of these, though, are moving a little slower than yesterday. That's not what we want. We saw much faster storms when we were talking about this on Friday. But right now, these, of course, still moving towards the northeast and relatively slowly, about 15 miles an hour. So also, you can see that rotation there just around the Axton area. And that one also moving about in the same direction. So all of these, unfortunately, still going over some of the same spots that we just have been talking about the last couple of days. So now we have 4 little rotation couplets that are going through, and they're pretty bright. Also, guys, I don't know, does this look like anything on, what does that look like on regular radar right now? Because that looks like it's trying to do something too.
Yeah, that's right over there by the Brosville community. And if you look at that on reflectivity, it does have that little bit of a downdraft.
That's something we need to watch.
Yeah,
it just kind of blew up there in the last 10 minutes. Wow.
Now, this is also, we should say that all of these are right along that warm front. The same thing that gave us all of the inclement, all of the warnings as we went through the week. And this is that area of low pressure that Thomas was talking about yesterday that was going to move back in today. Admittingly, we didn't think it would spawn 5 tornado warnings across the area today.
Unfortunately, still associated with the remnants of Helene, a lot of this. And yeah, we're still dealing with a lot of the moisture from that system. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that, because that one could be another system that might get another tornado warning. But yeah, here just around the Price area. So yeah, if you're in Price, you should already be in your safe place. The storm's right on top of you right now. Rotation moving through. Grab the kids, get it in your safe place. Put as many walls between you and the outside. Maybe grab the pillows or whatever you can. Put them on top of you if you're going to be in a bathroom or something like that. That, again, the warning lasts for about another 6 minutes, it looks like, as that one's going to be moving towards the northeast. But again, right towards the Martinsville area. So that's something we are going to have to keep in mind. You've still got about 15 minutes if you are in Martinsville until that system will be reaching you. But yeah, you can actually see that is bright enough where we can see it this far out. Here's the other rotation, still a warning there. And then just past Martinsville, that one seems to be weakening. I don't know if y'all can pick out anything.
They're all spinning.
Yeah, they're all spinning a little bit. The Martinsville one, though, does seem to be, the one that's moving past Martinsville does seem to be on the weaker side.
Right, the one that's pretty much right over top of the city of Martinsville, that honestly looks to be, it's still an area of spin. We're still going to watch that, but compared to the other two, the one over here by accident, definitely the one that's about ready to move into cross over the state line just to the north of Price into Ridgeway. That's the one that is particularly at its strongest.
I still would say that, absolutely.
And also we're going to watch this one up into Henry County. So yes, there are 4. We're going to treat all of these evenly, and we're going to treat all of these with respect because we always want to respect that polygon. But as of the 4 of these, I would say that the one that's right there in the center, I'll use my arrow key to point that out, this one right here would probably be the one of least concern, but we're going to respect all of them for certain. Let's go ahead and reset, Thomas, and I tell you what we're going to do is we're just going to let you know what's going on here. So right now we have 4 active tornado warnings across our area. They range in expiration times. The hardest hit area by far right now is southern Franklin County, also back in through Henry and western Pittsylvania County. The rest of the area, no severe weather right now, but nevertheless, we are going to watch that. We're also double boxing because we do have the WNBA playoffs that are in action right now. I know you can't hear the game, but you can see the game. You can still see the score. During commercial breaks, we're going to be coming back on full screen, and when the game comes back, we're going to go back to that double box look so you don't miss any of the game. But it's our policy, as we've been saying all week long, when a tornado warning is active, we are going to break in to protect life and property. So they're going to commercial break now, so we're going to pop on full screen. When they come back, we'll go back to the double box. So as of these 4 warnings, the northernmost warning there goes until 4:15. That goes in for Franklin County.
This is a little south of Rocky Mount, just along, what is that, 220?
Yeah, that is 220. We've got the one there for the city of Martinsville, which looks to be the weakest of the 4 right now. That goes until 4:15. We've got another one there for eastern Henry County going into Pittsylvania County. That one going until 4:15 as well.
And this is the one we were just talking about. And I will, if you will notice, it is trying to. It looks like it's pulling off the outflow from this system, and the right side of the storm, this right splitting storm, is trying to strengthen. So I would say they might let this go. We've still got plenty of time left on the warning. But I wouldn't be surprised if they start warning this one on the right side. It is leaning on that right side of the polygon, but something to keep in mind if you're a little closer. Unfortunately, look where this is headed, Will.
Yeah, it's going right back up there. In fact,
look where it's headed.
Newsroom, I don't know if we have anybody out there today. And Kelsey, I know, is over in the newsroom. I think she's listening right now. If we have anybody that's out at the site of the tornado from yesterday, have them text me or get a hold of me, so we can get them to safety, because I don't like where this is going. So if anyone is in the newsroom right now that is listening, if we have anybody out there at the tornado site from Friday around Dry Fork, have them somebody just get in touch with me, so if they are out there, we can get them away and get them to safety. But the one that we are particularly concerned about is this one down here that's just outside of Price. And unfortunately, this is the strongest one, and this is probably going to be going into a more populated area, unfortunately. That is not a great signature, just to the north of the Price vicinity right now. This is the one that we are going to spend a little bit of time on because look where it's heading to. It's heading to the Martinsville Speedway, and it's also right there in and around downtown Martinsville, which has already been kind of hit hard earlier today. So we're going to track this thing going to the north. It looks like it might be trying to pull a little towards the due north side. Well, actually, they just updated the scan there, so let me clear that off. And, well, if I could drive today, that would help, wouldn't it? All right, hold on. Hold on, everyone. Let me get back down here to it. All right, so there is the center that we are watching. I'm going to pull this one to the north at 20, and I'm just going to broad brush it here because it's a pretty large area of rotation. And I'm just going to pull it up in this general vicinity right here, Thomas.
Good. Yeah, I like that.
So Magna Vista High School at around 403.
And this one's moving, what, 10, 15 miles an hour?
I have it going at 20 just to give people further up the line just time to get to where they need to be.
All right, so let's look at this. All right, we've got Magna Vista High School next few minutes. So that's about 5 minutes from now. Chestnut Knob, also another 5 minutes behind that. So you've got about 10 minutes. Martinsville Speedway, about 16 minutes. And then, of course, the Martinsville area. You still have about 20 minutes till it's going to be on top of you, but you've already had storms going through, so hopefully you're a little more weather aware, already paying attention, tuning in perhaps with us, and And unfortunately, we have another day, if you're just joining us, of tornado warnings. And it looks like multiple warnings, again, going over the same spots that we talked about yesterday. And we talked, of course, they all happened on Friday, but we talked a lot about this yesterday. Oh, is that another warning that just came out, it looks like?
That might be a
Yeah, they just
continuation.
issued another one. Nope, they just issued another one for Martinsville.
It's for the same cell. But
Yes,
they went ahead
same
and,
cell.
the same one that
Yeah.
we're tracking, they just pulled it up. So basically, all right, so this is, once again, it's getting highly cluttered here.
Yeah,
They
a
need
lot
to
of
clean up
warnings.
some of this mess. In fact, Martinsville is under about right now 3 different tornado
there it
warnings.
is.
They really need,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what they're.
I think that they've got 2. Yeah, they got the one that's exiting, and then this new one is the one
tell
that
you
we're
what,
seeing
hold on.
just going
Oh,
over it.
hold on.
But it does look a little cluttered.
We'll do it this way. All right, so the new warning is up until 4:30.
Yeah, and
that
that's
is this one.
This
and
one
I'll-
that goes all the way. This
It's
stretches
this
down.
one right here.
Yes, thank
That one
you.
going
that's
until
good. That's good. Yeah.
until 4:30.
That's the
that
new
does
one.
include the city of Martinsville, and that is the one for the strongest one that we have.
And right now, yeah, I would say leaning right in this area where you should be expecting probably some storms coming through, whatever's left of that. It is riding right along 220. So if you are a long route, if you are planning on driving on 220, any point in the next 30 minutes, just stay off the road, especially if you're in Henry County right now. Again, we would advise stay inside just for the next hour, perhaps, and just keep it with us for a while.
If you are in Henry County, you need to be in a safe place.
There are just too many warnings out for your area. And this one also still here out to the east. It did look a little weaker in the last scan, but something still to watch. What's left of that original storm still spinning, just moving there to the east. But that's east of Martinsville, west of that stronger storm. I mean, we're still seeing that, still trying to form up. And again, Ridgeway, Horsepatcher, moving that direction with the southern storm. What's happening with the northerly ones? We need to check back in with those too, the ones that were just around the Rocky Mountain area.
I tell you what, let's go ahead and pull
Snydersville?
well, actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and reset really quickly, and then we'll go into each one of these one by one. I really think we're probably also going to get another one. They haven't said anything, but we're probably going to get another one for Pittsylvania County.
Yeah.
You go ahead and reset, Thomas, and I'll work on some tracks.
Of course, absolutely. So right now it's about 4 o'clock. We've been on for about a half hour now. We've had multiple tornado warnings once again. Most of these are over in Henry County, moving out of Rockingham County. You might have heard us talking about this the other day. Unfortunately, we are talking again about some of the same storms, same areas, getting hit by multiple rounds of tornado warnings. And so this afternoon, we've got a warm, moist atmosphere again. We have what's left of some of the moisture from Helene coming back in, even though you might have thought it was already done. It did get pulled up into the upper levels, but now that moisture is getting pushed eastward again. We've got a warm front over us, a lot of that helping to fuel these showers and storms that we've got going on. There's just enough spin again going on in the atmosphere to get these going. So this is unfortunately going to be another afternoon where we are going to have to break into programming some. We know there's a lot going on that everybody probably wants to watch, and we're going to do our best to try and give you a little bit of both, but it is our policy if there are tornado warnings that we're going to be breaking into programming for that, and unfortunately we do have that. So right now we've got multiple storms just north of South Boston. Those are at the moment not warned, but they are something that we're going to be watching. And then around Martinsville, we're starting to see some of these stronger storms that have been rotating enough to produce some tornado warnings. And that's what we're going to be giving you the latest on in the next few minutes. As of now, most of these warnings are issued until about 4:15, so we still have about 15 minutes, but they're still exhibiting enough rotation where we might stay on a little longer. There are a couple that are also until 4:30. And you can see 2 warnings that we have on here, one for Franklin County until 4:15, and then one for the Martinsville area. That one lasts until 4:15 as well. But as we were just talking about, there's a couple warnings that have been issued that are also probably going to get carried on a little further than the 4:30 area. So whenever you're ready, we'll bring that in, but we're good. So if you are in the Henry County area, we would like for you to get in your safe place. If you are in the Martinsville area, if you're in Rocky Mount, go ahead and be moving to it. We often say that you need to have a safe place. You need to have an emergency plan. This is the time to execute that plan. If you have anywhere in your house that's either a basement, it's a center room, if you can avoid anything when it comes to windows, that's the best. Put as many walls between you and the outside. And if you have tennis shoes, put those on as well, because if the storm goes over you, there could be a lot of debris outside, and a lot of people want to get out and take pictures. You can do that when it's safe, but don't do that right now. Just get tennis shoes on, get yourself indoors, and try to find the best cover that you can. Will.
All right, let's go ahead and switch over to the other weather computer, and we're going to put some tracks on all of these. So this tornado warning goes until 4:15. This goes for Franklin County. This is going to miss Rocky Mount. So if you're in Rocky Mount, you're fine. But if you're in areas east of Rocky Mount, right around Sontag, Woody, the Doe Run Christian Church, right there around going basically up 220, and then right around Route 40, the Colonial Turnpike, Sontag Road, places like that. This is pretty much over Sidnersville right now. So if you're going in that vicinity, please seek shelter. That's moving up to the north at 20. We've also got this area of rotation here around Fixboro. This tornado warning going until 4:15. Fixboro Elementary School, Fixboro, and then numerous other churches there. Not too terribly concerned with that one. That doesn't have the greatest of signatures. But we are going to watch that one. And we actually just had another tornado warning issue.
Yeah, I just see that. Pittsylvania County.
So with that area of rotation, the one just to the north of Axton, we're not too terribly concerned with it. It looks to be falling apart, but it is moving to the north into the east at around 20. Cranberry Memorial Church, Mount Vernon Church, Mount Valley Church here over the next half hour. This is the one we were telling you about that they might go ahead and reissue a tornado warning on. They have. This is near the Hinesville area. It will be in Hinesville at around 4:09, White Mill by around 4:14, Union Hall by around 4:23, Bannister at 4:25, Jones Mill right by the bottom of the hour. If you're in Mount Cross, if you're in Sharon, if you're in Stony Mill, you're fine. But if you're in Hinesville, if you're in White Mill, if you're in Soapstone, need you, or well, actually not Soapstone, but Hinesville and White Mill, need you in your safe place right now. And this is moving dangerously close to that same area that was just hit on Friday.
Yeah,
look up towards the north. That's Flint Hill.
Yeah, and this is exactly the one we were talking about. That was splitting off from that other storm, and it is moving directly towards that area that already had the tornado warning from Friday. That was an EF1 tornado, so unfortunately hitting the same spots.
Was that the EF2?
That was the
EF2.
I thought southern Pennsylvania was the EF2. Bedford County was...
Bedford County was our reporter that was down there earlier has gotten back, but if she has any contacts in that area that she's made over the last couple of days, tell them there is another potential cell heading your way, and they need to be very, very, very mindful. We will let you know if another warning is issued for that area, but it's very possible that another cell could be moving in that vicinity. So if anyone in the newsroom is watching, please notify those people that are in that area.
I will say this storm, though, is leaning a little more north than it is east. So even though we've got this track on here to kind of let everybody know, this storm, I think right now is probably going to be staying west of Chatham, but it does still show enough rotation where you should be keeping an eye on it.
This is the one that we are particularly concerned with. This is obviously the strongest of the two. This has just pretty much gone over Magna Vista High School, whatever it was. And it is moving up towards the north. And this is unfortunately moving into a pretty populated area. This is going into places like Chestnut Knob at 4:11. This is going to go at the Speedway at 4:18, Fontaine at 4:19, Chatmoss at 4:26, Laurel Park at around 4:32. And if I take the track off, you will see that that is a pretty nasty signature. I don't know why they probably issued another severe thunderstorm warning behind that because we probably got something into Carolina. We'll focus on that later. But right now, if you are in Marylebone Heights, if you're in Martinsville, if you're at the Speedway, if you're in Chestnut Knob, please get into your safe place right now. That is a signature that I really do not like, and it is moving pretty much right for downtown Martinsville.
It is.
Please seek shelter immediately if you are in Martinsville.
The whole Henry County area, we've been saying this, but right now, yeah, Henry County, just stay inside, stay in your safe place for the next half hour, it looks like, if not a little longer than that. But I know everybody probably wants to enjoy their weekend, and we hate to be interrupting programming like this, but unfortunately, yeah, some of the same spots that we talked about on Friday still getting hammered as we go into this afternoon. Martinsville especially. Now, Martinsville Speedway, as we'll just mention, probably in about 10 minutes, but past that, we're still watching areas like Chatmoss. Can we get this track off? Let's see if we can bring it out just a little bit. I want to see where that rotation is for the moment. It's still, yeah, okay, so what road is that?
This is just about ready to cross over Soapstone Church. So this is pretty much right over Magna Vista High School right now.
Okay, perfect.
So next up is Soapstone Road, Chestnut Knob, Joseph Martin Highway, and then it will be crossing. It's going to come very close to where 220 and 58 intersect, which is right there at the Speedway.
North of Marylebone Heights. Yeah, if you're hearing any of these, that's why I'm trying to let you know some of these landmarks, because you might hear something that you're familiar with, that you have a friend that goes to a church, a friend that goes to a school there, and we want you to let them know if they are in that area. I realize a lot of people are at home, but if you're thinking about this person that goes to one of these places or lives in this area, just let them know, because they're probably close by, even if they're not at church, if they're not at school, but they're probably going to be close to these locations. So try and let anybody know, even if you're not close, if you're a couple counties away, and this is frustrating, try to keep in mind, we have people that could be in the path of a dangerous tornado, and we've had multiple days of this already. Yeah, New Light Church there just popping up. But this is the rotation we're talking about, where you're seeing that bright green drop to the red. That's telling us where the winds are blowing. A certain direction, they're blowing the opposite direction. So if, for instance, these are blowing, let's just, for instance, say they're going this way, the reds are going the other way. So that lets you know, like, all right, there's probably a little spin there because the atmosphere is going two different directions. And that's what we're looking at. So there's enough spin there in the atmosphere, and that lets us know where a tornado could be. And that's what we're seeing right now. It does look like this is probably the strongest rotation, which is why we're focusing on a lot on this one. And also, of course, we have it moving towards the Martinsville area, a very densely populated area, a lot of people there. So this is also another tool that we like to use. This lets us know if there's something in the atmosphere. Could be sometimes, if there's a tornado, that it picks up a lot of dirt, debris, and trees and things like that, and it can get it in the sky, and then we can actually see that on the radar. So that's something that we will look at. Nothing that screams tornado right now, but we are seeing where you'll notice where it's nice and red, maroon color, whatever you want to say there. That kind of lets us know where the rain is falling. But when we start seeing changes in that color, that's where we're looking for to see if there could be something that might be some form of debris. Right now, not seeing anything significant. Might be a little bit of melting hail in the storm. I think that's mostly what we're seeing there. Nothing that, again, would tell us that there's probably anything significant going on.
So this thing is just about ready to cross over Soapstone Road now. And it is probably not too far away from that 58-220 intersection, not too far away from the Speedway. We'll go ahead and track it out again.
National Weather Service is saying they're considering another warning downstream of Franklin County right now as well.
All right, so there's the newest track on that. And actually, before let me just tilt that maybe a little bit that direction. All right, so Rich Acres Elementary, 417. Martinsville Speedway, 419. The Druid Hills Elementary School. Notice how we've got all these elementary schools listed because it's going into a more populated area.
Yes.
Chatmoss at around 427 and Laurel Park at around 433. Actually, I think the scan just updated again, so let me
move it along.
Nudge everything up a little bit. Okay, so there's some updated times for you.
Okay, yeah, Martinsville Speedway, you've got about 5 minutes in that area, but of course, right past that is going to be the Martinsville area, and again, pretty populated area. We've got a lot of people there, and a lot of you are probably watching us, wondering what's going on because we're interrupting programming, and you've already had some storms going through. Unfortunately, we are seeing these storms develop again like we saw on Friday, repetitive. These are moving slower. They have the same spin. It's weak, and it's close to the ground. Nothing, again, that is telling us that we are definitely seeing a tornado on the ground, but there are some telltale signs, and that's why we are breaking into programming this afternoon. Right there is where we're watching, moving towards the Soapstone Road area, moving past Soapstone now as well, and looks like it's going to be probably, if there is a tornado, it would be somewhere in here
Thomas,
right now.
Can I also,
go ahead.
If anyone in the newsroom is again watching, and I'm sorry, I can only talk with so loud, but if anyone in the newsroom is watching, if there's a VDOT camera. And I can't access it from the weather computer because it was down the last time I was checking. I don't know if it's still up now, but I know they can get to it from the 511 website. If someone in the newsroom can run upstairs to the production booth, I know there's a VDOT camera, if it's operational, right there around 58-220 on the south side of Martinsville. If someone could get that up and just let us know when they have that up, that would be highly beneficial. So if someone could work on that, that would be fantastic. We also, unfortunately, Thomas, have so many tornado warnings out there today, so we're going to have to bounce around.
Yeah, real
again.
quick, I was about to say, can we go over to the Pittsylvania County one?
And,
yeah.
That one looks so
just
if you're
through
in
Hinesville. Yeah, this is the other one that also is showing a lot of spin. So we're going to go 1, 2, kind of as they get weaker. But right now, this is the second strongest one, just moving right now over Hinesville. So that one, again, moving about the same direction. What is it, Strawberry Road? What does that look like?
That's Mount Cross Road. That's so it's pretty much right over Mount
Whitmell
Cross Road
Church.
now.
I'm just looking ahead of what's going to be next.
I'm going to draw a track on that.
Yeah,
and
Route 41, moving right towards it. And yeah, it is taking just a little more of a northerly trend. Yeah, right through there. Yeah. All right, so yeah, I got these. Hinesville, again, right on top of you right now. So stay inside for the next 10, 15 minutes. The Bannister area in about 15 minutes. Flint Hill also 16 minutes or so. And then the Hollywood area, that one's still got about 25 minutes. But not quite as many communities out there, but it doesn't matter if it hits anybody right now. We want anybody that's in the path of this storm. If you're not hearing a community that's your area, then maybe you have heard somewhere that a friend of yours lives, like Rondo area, Bannister,
and this is that same area that we were just talking about on Friday. This is the same area that was hit. So again, if you know anyone that was hit on Friday, they're out there cleaning up, please let them know that there is another cell coming, and this one also looks decently concerning to us in the Weather Center.
It does.
So they need to, and I hate to say this, but with all the debris that's out on the ground from Friday's storm, if another storm comes around, that's just going to knock it up even more.
It's true.
So if you're in Rondo, if you're in Hollywood, if you're in Flint Hill, if you're in Bannister, if you're in Jones Mill, if you have a place to go, this would be the time to do that. If you don't have a place to go, head east.
All right.
Go out towards Chatham, Motley's Mill, Cedars Mill. Get on the other side of 29 until this thing passes by.
Let's go back over to radar and let's bring us up a little bit because we just hit 415, so there's going to be a couple that are going to drop off, and we're going to see if they're going to reissue. Okay, yeah, so we lost 2 of them.
Oh, well, nope, we just got a third one.
There's another one. Okay.
All right, so let's take a little bit. Now, this is going to be close to Rocky Mount, but is not.
Yeah, that's the Franklin County one, the one that they mentioned.
It's not going to impact Rocky Mount, but this is the signatures right there over Sidnersville. A couple years ago, this area had an EF3 tornado touchdown in it. They're very gun shy.
Sontag Elementary right now.
This also looks like it's moving up.
That's definitely got some spin to it.
All right,
yeah, it's still a little more northerly. Henry Fork Church, probably in the next, what is that? 422, so about 6 minutes from now. And then is it D Run Christian Church also out ahead of it. And yeah, it is Sunday. A lot of people probably getting ready for evening church services, so there's probably a lot of people that might be in the path of this.
All right, that VDOT camera is ready too for the one in Martinsville. Let's go ahead and take that. Oh wow, that is an excellent shot.
Oh, nice. Thank you guys.
Can we? I tell you what. I know Thomas is at the wall right now. Can we? There you go. All right, so I'm going to step out in front, get a good look at that. I'm not even sure what direction this is looking, but that's at least a shelf cloud coming in. All right, we'll keep an eye on that camera, but yeah, that is. If I'm not mistaken, that camera's right there, very close by to the 58-220 intersection.
Okay, and they just continued the tornado warning for Pittsylvania County as well.
All right, let's go back to the radar, everyone, and we'll. All right, so while Thomas is resetting that, let me bring up the 3 active warnings that we have, and they are all on the south side. First of all, if you're in Lynchburg, you're fine. No imminent threat to Lynchburg, no imminent threat to Roanoke, really no imminent threat to Danville. And that, okay, and it looks like that VDOT camera's looking north. Okay, so we've got 3 active warnings going on right now. One goes for Franklin County until 4:45. One goes for Martinsville and the county of Henry until 4:30. And there's another one for Pittsylvania County that also goes until 4:30. All of them have at least a fairly decent sign of spin with them. And that's why we're on the air with them right now. I believe the basketball game is going to a commercial, so we're going to be able to go full screen here for just a second.
Both of these warnings go until 4:30, so we've still got about 12 minutes left on this one. I was mentioning they're going to keep this one going. They just cut off the bottom, so they've cleared some communities from the tornado warning as it's already moved through. Again, these are moving a little slower than the ones from yesterday. These are going at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, but enough rotation in a lot of them, though, to bring a tornado warning. And I do think we'll probably see, I think, this one, as long as it keeps looking like this in the next few minutes, that one's probably also going to get another tornado warning. Likely, I think it's going to avoid the Chatham area, or Chatham might be just on the very eastern edge, but it does look like it's going to be avoiding that spot. However, again, we had several warnings going through that area yesterday. All right, so here's, the latest on this. We've got 3 active tornado warnings right now. One for Franklin County. That one lasts till 4:45. That one was just issued a couple of minutes ago. We've also got one for the Henry County area, and that includes includes Martinsville, and that one lasts until 4:30. So that's about 11 minutes from now. And then the one that you see here over Pittsylvania County, also, that one lasts until 4:30. Like I said, though, that one's still showing enough spin. We were talking about that one splitting off earlier. Let's go back to Martinsville because it does look like that, again, we still have a storm that's moving towards, it looks like Chatmoss now, just directly over the Martinsville Speedway area. Right here is where we're watching.
Guys, can we double box that VDOT camera with Thomas at the wall while we're on this commercial break? That would be highly great if we could do that.
Right
go ahead,
here.
Thomas.
Yeah, you're good. Right here, Martinsville Speedway, and where you're seeing towards the Marrowbone Heights, where we have that red and the green next to each other. That's showing us where the spin is. So right now, this is where the tornado would likely be. But keep in mind, of course, that the radar, it does not immediately happen. We're not getting scans as this storm is going on. So these are going to be 1 or 2 minutes behind. Something to think about. But this storm is moving relatively slow anyways, so it's still going to be relatively accurate. Now, this is just going to be moving a little bit there towards the northeast, and that is going to be lifting right towards the Martinsville area. So unfortunately, again, right towards the downtown area. Here's the latest on that track.
Hold on, wait a minute. Okay. Sorry, it updated literally as I pulled it.
Oh, you're good.
Before we read the track, just so everyone is aware, on the left-hand side of your screen right now, you're obviously watching our coverage. On the right-hand side of the screen, that is a VDOT cam at 220 and 58. A very ominous look there, and I believe, according to our producer Sammy upstairs, that this is looking out towards the north. Regardless of what direction it's looking at, it's a very ominous scene there in Martinsville as this storm continues to pile in. Go ahead, Thomas.
And where exactly is that camera, Will?
I believe, and I'm not 100% sure.
I shouldn't say exactly. Okay,
so
intersection of 220.
And State Route, what'd you say, Sammy, 57 or 66? 687.
687. Okay.
All right, let me look on another computer.
All right.
But
that's
it's
gonna
roughly
be
right in that same area.
leading up, yeah. So that might see it, and that's a little concerning. There's still a lot of people out, and that's something a lot of people, unfortunately, might not know about these storms being out and about right now. And I would encourage everybody in Henry County, if you can, to get off the road safely. If you can, stay home for the next half hour to an hour. That would be very healthy for you. We want everybody to try and stay safe. I realize there's a lot of people that probably want to be out and about. Like I mentioned, a lot of people probably getting ready for church this evening and are planning on being out on the roads. But the Henry County area, at least for the next probably another half hour, we're still watching these storms that have enough spin in them that could be very dangerous.
All right,
this is still what we're watching. Go ahead.
Sammy, can
There's
we pull
another
up?
scan.
Can we pull up the one? I see that there's a camera right there at 58 to 220. It's a little north of the one that we're looking at right now. Can we pull that one up and see what? Or is that one? It's right there by Marrowbone Heights. Okay, that's fine. Let's take that one because this is 58 or 220 at 58 right now, Thomas. They're going to pull that one up.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of rain.
And honestly, if there was anything, this would be right in the middle of it.
It could be.
Because I believe that camera is pointed.
So it's just getting, yeah, I mean, it is just getting now on the outskirts of the Martinsville area. Can we, let's bring this out a little bit because I think we're getting behind, because the rotation is going to be up here now and we're getting a little away from it. Yeah, because it's, take that track away, actually. And because this is where the rotation is now, yeah. It's going to be just on the very edge of the city, Martinsville city area. So it's just now moving into the Martinsville city area. This is going to be the east side of the city where if there is a tornado, that's where it likely is. But again, we still have another 7 minutes of this warning left. I don't think they're definitely not going to be canceling this, but it's a matter of whether or not they extend it beyond this. But there's still enough rotation there. But in the next few minutes, still go ahead and plan for these storms to be coming through. So the Old Liberty area within the next 5 minutes, Chatmoss as well, about 5 to 8 minutes, and Martinsville General Hospital also moving that direction. And then the Laurel Park area in about 10 minutes as well. Beyond that, Leatherwood, a little further out. But rotation for that one's still significant enough. And we do have, I think we probably should just stay on this one for the moment, even though, well, the one over in Pittsylvania County still looks pretty bad.
Let's switch over briefly.
We need to look at the one in Rocky Mount, just outside of Rocky Mount, too.
Okay. Let's go over to the other weather computer briefly, and we'll show you the one that's over here in Pittsylvania County. So this is
there we go. Yeah,
now just to the north of Hinesville.
Wow.
This will be going over Bannister And it's going to be moving over that same area that was hit the other on Friday. And now this actually looks like it's going pretty much due northeast. So let me go ahead and put a track on this. And again, I will go ahead and tell the newsroom, if we have made any contact with anybody in that area over the last few days, please let them know that there is another storm coming. And they need to seek shelter if they can. I realize that it's very possible that some of these people might not have anywhere to go. So if that is the case, now is the time to head east. Go to Chatham. Go down to Dry Fork. Go down to Motley's Mill. Get on the other side of 29. That's if you do not have any. If you're in that area and you do not have anywhere to go, get in a car and get on the other side of 29.
Get out of the Dry Fork area. It does look like what we saw yesterday, at least where that storm initiated, that's being avoided. But yeah, it's still headed towards areas that got hit. And it is moving that direction. Jones Mill, again, we're having to say the same things we said on Friday. Union Hall Elementary School, within the next few minutes, you got about 5 minutes. Bannister area, a couple minutes after that. Flint Hill, another 10 minutes behind that. If you are not already in your safe spot, you should be a safe place. If anybody is underneath a tornado warning, we have 3 of them ongoing right now. If you haven't already, you should be getting to a safe place, have your emergency plan already in place. And if you have it, go ahead and just get inside, get to the most interior room that you possibly can, avoid any windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Throw on some tennis shoes as well. If you've got helmets, if you've got bike helmets, grab those just in case. You can put those on. It's not silly to be safe, even though you might feel silly inside. It's totally worth it if it keeps you safe. And tennis shoes as well, because if you're going to be going outside, hopefully not. If something does happen to your house, there's going to be a lot of debris everywhere. And you want to have tennis shoes on. You don't want to be walking around barefoot or with flip-flops. Okay, there's another warning, Will.
Yep, and that's, well, actually, hold on, I'm looking at 2 screens at once. Yeah, and that's a continuation for the area that we're just saying. So again, I cannot stress this enough. If you are west of Chatham, let me put Chatham on the map here. If you are west of Chatham and you are in that area that was hit on Friday, and you do not have anywhere to go, get on the other side of 29.
Yeah, they're kind of making it a little broader, it looks like. As I mentioned, so for the moment, they're not including Chatham, but this is moving pretty much right along this path. It is very tight. The cell itself is not very widespread, so that's a little good news for us because it gives us a better picture of where this might be forming. We're not seeing quite as wide of the storms that we had yesterday, but this one, again, split off from another storm earlier. Could do that again, so that's something that unfortunately we are going to have to watch.
And this is oh gosh, this is literally the exact same area from Friday.
Yeah, it's moving over the tail end of where kind of the middle. Where did that stopped? Was it just north of?
Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Let's
you could pull that up.
I'll
try this out. You're doing.
Yeah.
Flint Hill at about 10 minutes from now. Hollywood area about 15 minutes. And also behind that, Climax Elementary School. That's a little ways off. You still got about 30 minutes. But this new warning lasts until 5 o'clock. So we have another half hour now that we are still going to be staying with our programming interruption. You might have tuned in, watching the game over here to my side. We're going to try and keep both of them up as much as we can because we realize a lot of people are trying to watch the game. But there are active tornado warnings in place right now. We have not heard any confirmed tornado touchdowns, but that is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on as well because we had that happen on Friday. We had 2 confirmed tornadoes. Today, so far, there are no confirmed tornado touchdowns, but we do have active warnings. We've already had several, and it's possible that we might be watching these keep going for a couple more hours, depending on how far north they can get. Good news is there's more stable air again moving northward. So like we talked about Friday, the further north they get, the less conducive the environment is for stronger or rotating storms. And for the moment, still enough rotation with these. Yes?
All right. So let's go over to the other weather computer. Let's go over to, there's the other one. So the triangles are where the Friday's tornado touched down at.
Wow.
And and this is current radar.
That's wow. Yeah, because right now this storm is heading about right here. So yeah, it could be crossing over some of the same areas.
Hold on. Let me tail end of that storm. Hold on. So I'm going to put the velocity on now. Let's see if that'll pop in. And we can see exactly where this thing is at.
Again, if you're just tuning in, just to let you know, this is going to look a little different. We're actually overlaying the storms that we had from Friday onto the graphics right now. This is a tornado that we had put in the track from the National Weather Service from what had happened Friday, and that's what you're seeing here, where it started and then it traveled north through the county, and of course lifted off eventually just there to the west of the Chatham area.
It's not letting me load in the
Okay,
velocity,
that's fine.
but,
That's fine. But it was the storm is about right here, right now, and it looks like that track is kind of taking it right to the very edge. But we're going to give it a little wiggle room. So unfortunately, again, if you are in the path of this storm, you're very close to what happened on Friday. Now, we're not saying that this is a confirmed tornado on the ground, but the National Weather Service has seen enough rotation on the radar for them to warrant issuing this storm. But we're still seeing, I mean, notice, well, wow, we've still got some more storms that actually look almost the same when it comes to at least this form of the radar that are still pretty strong. So unfortunately, a pretty active day once again. All right, let's go back to the Martinsville storm, because that one also still on the still moving through the downtown area. They just continued the one for the Franklin County.
I will say
as
this
well.
one doesn't look nearly as impressive as it once did.
Excellent. That's great.
It's broadened out a little bit, thankfully. I'm just going to do a broad brush track to try and get as many people.
And it is moving through the Martinsville city area right now, and it's probably just getting past most of the city. And it looks like it might be moving out through the city. And they just canceled the backside of that warning, which is why that lower polygon is going to be gone. But yeah, just moving northwest of Chatmoss as well. But looks like, yeah, the rotation is probably right in here.
You want me to clear that track off, Thomas?
Yes, please.
And after this, we will, I tell you what, well, are you looking at the Martinsville storm?
I was,
Okay,
and
while
we
you're
also
doing-
need to go look at the one.
I was going to say, while you're
yeah,
doing
because that other one is also very strong.
All right, so this is up here by Sontag and by Hopkins Mill. This is going to be making a run towards areas around Glade Hill. There's the new scan, still looking.
Just to the west of Hopkins Mill, Glade Hill in the path of this. This is moving northeast about 10 to 15 miles an hour. And yeah, this is avoiding Rocky Mount. We had to talk about that on Friday too, but this one is moving, again, northeast at about 10 miles an hour. Not a lot. Let's try and widen the path a little, see if we
Yeah.
can catch a couple extra cities.
I can tell you,
We want to give as many people as possible.
If I'm in Glade Hill, I'm definitely taking my precautions.
Not a lot, but that's
so
okay.
that's
Doe Run Christian Church within the next 10 minutes. Glade Hill, again, you're going to want to keep an eye out. Yeah, D Run Christian Church, you should be inside already.
Now this is moving up towards Redwood and Glade Hill.
this
So if
around
I'm
40?
in Redwood or Glade Hill,
Old Bethel Church,
that again, this is just
Crafts
to the
Church,
east there of Rocky
Redwood.
Mount. So if you are basically, if you're just east of Rocky Mount on Route 40, say between Rocky Mount and Pinhook on Route 40, well, actually, I'll narrow it down even more. If you're between Rocky Mount and, say, Brooks Mill Road on Route 40, you need to be in your tornado safety place. This is going to miss Rocky Mount. This is going to miss Pinhook. But if I'm in Glade Hill, if I'm in Redwood, I'm definitely taking my tornado safety precautions there. Let me check, see if there's anything debris-worthy here. And, oh, well. Maybe Thomas said maybe some elevated hail or something. I don't see anything on that signature that would scream debris in the air, but it's something that we'll definitely keep an eye on. And this warning goes until 4:45, so another 15 or so minutes with that. Here's a look at all three of them again. So tornado warning for Franklin County until 4:45. Tornado warning for Pittsylvania County, which unfortunately is going pretty much right over the same area that was hit hard on Friday. That goes until 5 o'clock. And we also still have this tornado warning down here for Martinsville until 5 o'clock as well, although I will say that one does appear to be weakening both in velocity and on the regular radar mode. And if we look further back upstream just to see, I don't see anything imminently threatening those areas, at least not in the next 60 to 90 minutes or so.
Yeah, and you can still make out the rotation here. When you can see that bright green from this high up, yeah, still definitely something going on there. And that one lasts till 5 o'clock, so yeah, definitely another half hour. The one for the Henry County area, Martinsville. Martinsville, you're almost in the clear. Give it just a couple more minutes. Franklin County as well, 4:45, so about 12 minutes from now. But still very active day outside. I'm just going to look real quick. Okay, the other ones look relatively weak. I'm just kind of doing a quick scan of any other cells that might be doing something. But for the moment, most of the ones, just to reestablish, let you know, can we actually, the Bannister area, moving towards Flint Hill, Hollywood, that's going to be lasting for a little while as we go into the next half hour. Also, I want to mention there are some storms just north of Halifax, South Boston, the Brookneal area. Those are not rotating, but if you're just joining us, there are strong storms still possible for a little while longer this afternoon. It looks like there is also possibility of hail, high winds. If you're not getting a tornado, you should expect high winds regardless. That's something a lot of people don't think about, but high winds can do just as much damage as a tornado can a lot of the times. Maybe not to the highest extent that tornadoes can get, but still a lot of damage can come just from some high winds, and a lot of these storms are going to be producing that, what is called in meteorology as straight line winds. But they're just south of Bannister. That's what we're watching, this bright color where you go from green to red. That's what's moving north at the moment, and we're going to have to keep an eye on that. The Flint Hill area just in the next 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes, as that one moves.
We should mention that this more than likely is going to miss Chatham by.
Yes. Right now, the warning might look a little ominous because it does stretch very far, but it's because it's moving very slowly and they are not seeing a defined track. But at the moment, again, it is leaning northeast. This is going to be missing the Chatham area. The only way I can think it would go that direction is if it were to weaken or another storm tries to split, if this one tries to split and go towards the east. But for the moment, the Chatham area does look okay. But keep in mind, if you could switch over really quickly, Will, just to normal radar. You don't need to move it, but just to the normal, there's that other cell I was just talking about. So there is going to be some rain coming from it.
Well, it actually looks like it's absorbed. They might try to merge.
They could, but that is something that I'm going to keep an eye on. But for the moment, no storms moving through the Chatham area. Just some rain, something to watch. But for the time being, this one, though, still enough rotation where it is a dangerous storm. Let's go back to Martinsville. That storm is also moving out of the Martinsville area. The western side of Martinsville, you are clear, but we are still seeing, so just in the western side of the Martinsville area, you're clear from this tornado warning. But yeah, moving into the Laurel Park area, moving towards Old Chatham Road. Leatherwood, you're in the path of this storm system, but just starting to move out. Still broad rotation. It does not look nearly as strong as it did about 30 minutes ago, but there's still enough there.
We got a report that somebody saw a funnel cloud, but the problem is we've had so many different warnings. I don't know which warning that was for.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and actually go back and
you're fine.
And read the individual warning text and see if I can find where somebody said that they saw a funnel cloud at.
Right now, this one is just moving to Laurel Park area, north of Chatmoss, moving towards Old Chatham Road. Leatherwood, you should be getting your safe place. You still got about 15, 20 minutes until it'll be reaching you. But we are watching possible tornadoes on the ground. We have 3 active warnings right now. It's 4:37, and we have 3 warnings in place. Several of them are lasting for, I think 2 of them are lasting till 5 o'clock, and I believe another one is just lasting till 4:45. Yes, okay, so the one in Rocky Mount, we still have about 6 or 7 minutes left. That one's still rotating as well, and honestly, I'd be surprised if they didn't extend that one for the moment because it still has enough spin. It's small, it's very compact. It is just to the east of Rocky Mount. This is moving towards the North Shore area as well. You can still see the spin of the one in the Chatham area as well.
Thomas, we should also mention that all the shear today, which is the turning of those winds, they're all squeezed into the lowest levels of the atmosphere. The Cape today, which is basically the energy that you basically you think of Cape as basically gasoline. If you put gas in a car, obviously the more gas that you have, the further you can drive. If you don't have all that gas, you obviously can't go all that far. So really, most of the time, you really need high levels of Cape or high levels of energy to get storms to go up. Sometimes you can offset that with a lot of shear, and you don't need a lot of energy. And that's what we have today. We don't really have a lot of energy. It's been cloudy. It's been somewhat cool. It's been rainy all day long. We don't really have a lot of energy to play with today, but we've just got so much shear, so much wind aloft. And that's kind of what's brought all of these to fruition for today. And that has given us at what points, 5 active tornado or 5 tornado warnings, now down to 3. Thomas Battle, Will Stafford, George Flickinger will be joining us momentarily. And of course, we hate to interrupt the programming. I know people are probably not thrilled, but we have a commitment here that we're going to protect life and property. And we have 3 active warnings. One of those warnings just outside of Chatham is going over an area that was literally hit by a tornado on Friday. This is why we're on the air. 4 instances like that, and there is a real possibility that we could have another tornado in that same general vicinity. So that's why we're on the air. The game is still visible. You can see the score there at the bottom of the screen. You just can't hear it. And a lot of times, you don't like what the announcers are saying anyway, right, Thomas?
Unfortunately, I don't think anybody's going to be liking what we're saying either. We've still got active tornado warnings, 3 of them. One of them for about another 5 minutes. This one in Pittsylvania County is supposed to last for about another 20 minutes. A little more time. Good news, it is avoiding Chatham area, a lot of the area that was hit yesterday, but unfortunately still a lot of people in the path of this storm as it moves through the Bannister area now. Just to the east of the Jones Mill area, it's past Dry Fork now, but moving towards Hollywood as we go into the next half hour. And again, it does look like we're going to be seeing these continue. National Weather Service, they're going to continue the Franklin County one as well.
Oh, so and well, with good reason why.
Ahead of it. Yep.
Let's go over to.
That's the one that was supposed to expire in 5 minutes. They probably will let it, but there's going to be a new warning that's going to be issued.
And this one might take it all the way up to Smith Mountain Lake, and that has pulsed up a little bit.
There it goes. All right, this one's till 5:15. So this is a brand new warning for Franklin County, and this lasts until 5:15. This is for the cell we've been watching just outside of Rocky Mount. This one seems to be the stronger one now. The one in Martinsville has weakened. This one is a little stronger, though. This one's moving towards Route 40, about to leave this old polygon, and this one's moving a little more north, a little less to the easterly, yeah. But yeah, right there, moving probably. All right, let's list some of these. Yeah, Glade Hill Church, 446, Glade Hill and 447. That's about 5 or 6 minutes from now. So you've got a little time. Go ahead and get everybody gathered together. Get them into a basement if you have one. If you don't have a basement, you can get to the interior most room of your home, one without any windows, and try to get underneath blankets, pillows, mattress if you have it. You have a bathroom that's like that. You can get in the tub if you have the tornado moving over you, but the safest area in your home, the Dudley Elementary School area, 504, so a little more time, but about 20 minutes out from you, and Booker T. Washington National Monument a little further behind that.
I will say, Thomas, those once you get on and that's the Booker T. Washington National Monument, Westlake Corner, that's along Route 122. That's right up there by the lake.
Yes.
They technically, at this point, are not included in the warning. I drew the track that far just to give you a heads up in case they do decide to extend that warning.
If somehow somebody is watching us on Smith Mountain Lake, or if you know of somebody that's out on the lake today, tell them to get off. If you can get in contact with them. Right now, everybody should be getting off the lake and getting to the safest place that they can. You've still got plenty of time, but there are enough storms outside. Good news, at least for that, though, is the fact that there's not a lot of lightning with these storms. So that is a benefit for some of this, but we are still watching a potentially dangerous system that could be producing hail and high winds, if not a tornado, as it moves towards that area.
Yeah,
so it's something to keep in mind. A lot of people could be out there today.
And the Weather Service literally just said exactly what you said. There's no lightning out there, but you need to get off of Smith. They are saying get off of Smith Mountain Lake.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, a lot of people probably might be out, again, like we said, trying to enjoy their weekend, might be heading to church soon in the next half hour to an hour. Henry County starting to clear up a little bit, but in some spots. But Franklin County now getting Pittsylvania. We've said all of these counties in the last couple of days multiple times, and unfortunately still saying it again today. All right, let's go look at the other storm that's over Pittsylvania County, see how that one's looking. Both relatively weak. The one moving away from Martinsville is weaker, but it is still trying to spin. And that one still has another 15 minutes to go on that warning. This one is more of a north-northeast trek. So this one's still it is avoiding Chatham, but if we do see a new warning, it's still falling within the polygon. These are moving slower. You might notice that was something we talked a lot about the other day. They were moving 20, 25 miles an hour. These are moving at about 10 to 15. And unfortunately, that means it sits there a little longer. So if we have tornadoes, they might not be moving through as quickly, and that means churning on the ground a little longer and can be more damaging. Yeah, a nice north-northeast track there. Here's some of the communities. We've been saying several of these for the last bit. That's because, again, it's moving pretty slow, which gives people more time to try and get into cover. But the Flint Hill area, within the next 5 minutes. Hollywood, about 10 minutes from now. And Climax at about 5:06. So a lot of these storms still moving relatively slowly, but there's rotation in all of these storms, and we've been seeing that for the last hour. And then let's go check out the Martinsville one as well, just to kind of give everybody a quick look at all of these, just so we have the latest information.
Now that looks like it is maybe
Right
spinned
there.
up a little bit more
yeah,
too.
like I said, it was weakening, but now it still looks like it's trying to do something. So this is moving away from the Laurel Park area. It is moving towards Leatherwood. Mentioned that a few minutes ago, but it is moving away now from the Martinsville downtown area. If you're in Martinsville City, you are clear from this storm. However, there are still more showers, more storms to your south, but nothing that's tornado warning, nothing that seems to be tornado warned, but nothing that's rotating too much. But there are still several cells that seem to be active outside with it. So yeah, if you are in the path moving out of the Laurel Park area, moving towards Leatherwood, Old Chatham Road, moving just to the east there. We're going to put a little track on there. You're good.
That, sorry.
You're good. And this warning lasts until 5 o'clock, so we have another 15 minutes for this warning. And it looks like, oh, did they just, yeah, they just canceled the warning.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, they just trimmed the warning back. So that's what you saw with the polygon change there. Now Martinsville getting clear to the warning. As I just said a few seconds ago, you are clear if you're in Martinsville. Chatmoss as well. But this storm is moving towards several more communities in the next few minutes. Here we go. Stony Mountain Church, 4:48. That's about 3 minutes from now. You should already be inside in your safe spot. You've got a little more time, though. Leatherwood School, Cranberry Memorial Church, about 10, 15
Sorry, Thomas,
minutes.
it moved. Fun. It moved on you, so I updated the track. Sorry.
You're good. Stony Mountain Church, 4:46. Leatherwood School, 4:52. And the Leatherwood community at about 4:55. Lots more room. That's still going towards the northeast. And it is moving at about, what, 10 to 15? Still the same?
Now, I've had all of these moving at 20 just to give more people up a little bit of extra time to kind of get their ducks in a row and where they need to be. I did want to also focus in on this one as well, because this one looks to be wrapped up pretty tight. I'm going to draw a track on that.
That's the Franklin County one?
That's the Franklin County storm, and I believe...
This is outside of Rocky Mount.
And there's the Smith Mountain Lake camera. And I'm going to put a track on that just to get you an idea of where this is going. And we'll draw it up.
Hey there, Will. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you there, George. So there's an indication of where that's going. So Glade Hill, and I'm going to put that down. Since you're right there, George, I'll put that down there, so not to so you don't have to move.
And also, right after this, right after I give out the times, I want to take a look at that live view out of Smith Mountain Lake right now, which we'll make that full screen here shortly. But as far as this possible tornado, you can see some of the communities. Westlake Corner, this will be near you at 516, and Westlake Corner, that's on the west side of Smith Mountain Lake. So you're getting into a more populated area as you do make your way towards Smith Mountain Lake. Let's now go live. This Smith Mountain Lake sky camera, let's pull this one up full screen. And in our view, let's see, Will, could you move this camera and point it toward the tornado warning, which would be to the southwest? And if there is a potential lowering out of this, we would be able to see this out of this vantage point. So we'll give this a minute. First off, this is a good scene out in Smith Mountain Lake that everybody is off the lake out ahead of the storm.
George, it's not letting me pan the camera. At this
Okay,
point.
all right. So let's then go back to one of our other weather computers, Max 2.
Oh, no, we're on the weather computer. I control that, so that's fine. Let's go back to that other source, guys.
So
when we were just on, and I can control it.
So for those of you who are just joining us, the National Weather Service has issued 12 tornado warnings today. The good news, there has not actually been a single tornado reported out of these, but up at cloud level, we do have rotation. At the moment, we have 3 tornado warnings. We have that warning we were just showing you toward Westlake Corner. We also have the warning in Pittsylvania County, and also the warning which is on the north side, northeast side of Henry County. Let's go back down to Pittsylvania County. Will Stafford is running the radar for us, and let's take a closer look at this. So this is now looking near Chatham. Will, let's stop the radar animation here for a bit. So when I'm looking at this, I do not see an obvious tornado on the ground. I do see a broad area of rotation. The brighter, if you're having a real bright red and a real bright green and they're right next to each other, that could be a tornado, but also notice that there's this buffer of gray between them. So that tells me that there is a broad rotation up at cloud level. If you're looking at this, you may be able to see a rotating part of the storm in the lower levels, but this does not look like an obvious tornado. Regardless, get into and stay into your place of tornado shelter just in case this does actually produce a tornado. As Will and Thomas were mentioning, this is actually very close to the area which was hit by the tornado along Dry Fork Road and toward Jones Mill on Friday. This is lifting to the north, so this is going to stay just west of Chatham. As far as some of the communities, the Hollywood community, that's along 57 to the west of Chatham, kind of almost halfway between Chatham and Callens. We'll see it near Hollywood at 456. This is going to stay west of Hargrave. Hargrave is right in here. This is going to stay west of that. And actually, if there was a tornado, you would be able to see this as this lifts to the north. But as I'm looking at this, this does not look like a Captain Obvious type tornado. Will, let's go to the storm in Franklin County. Let's go back to that one. And
I think
this one's tightened up.
This is our strongest one so far. This is about ready to cross over Route 40. And then making a run at Brooks Mill Road. If you are, we were doing a storm track here. There's not a lot of roads here, which is good. But this is going to come
right over State Highway 40. This is Smith Mountain Lake right through here. So this is going to approach the North Shore area, also Dudley Elementary, and also toward Manita. It's the Manita and West Lakeside corner of the lake. So this possible tornado, if somebody was actually along State Highway 40 right now, between Redwood and Glade Hill Elementary, just stay put, let this part of the storm pass in case there is a tornado. If somebody was located near Glade Hill, this is going to be passing just to your west as this cell lifts to the north and east. So tornado warning remains for this part of Franklin County. We'll monitor this as it does make its way towards Smith Mountain Lake. Will, let's steer us back down to the tornado-warned storm just north of Martinsville.
Oh, that one's also pulsed back up, George. They might need a new warning for that.
Right in here. Now notice how the red and green are actually touching here. So this is a tighter circulation. Just by looking at the radar, you can't tell from this view if there is actually a tornado on the ground or not. But take cover if you're in the Leatherwood community. That's along 57 getting north and east out of Martinsville. So between Callens and Martinsville, that's where this possible tornado is located. This one will eventually be crossing Mountain Valley Road. This is north of Axton, right along 57. Please avoid driving Highway 57 between Martinsville and Callens for the next 30 minutes until the cell passes. It's right here, and it will continue lifting toward the north and northeast. As far as Martinsville, you're good. This is moving away from you. Will, let's recenter the map for our entire viewing area so we can put this into Bedford relations. Also, our folks, those of you watching us in Lynchburg, so that you know what's going on, because you're probably wondering, what's next? What's going to be happening here in the next hour? This cell here, where we were just showing you this possible tornado near Smith Mountain Lake, this one is going to eventually push its way up into Bedford County and also move near the town of Bedford in the next hour. So we'll watch that for you. It's a slow mover. We have a lot of time to watch it, but eventually this cell will make its way toward the town of Bedford. We're going to watch this one here, which this second is less impressive. That one will push its way across northern Pittsylvania County toward Gretna, toward Alta Vista into Campbell County, and toward Rustburg. As far as Lynchburg, we're just watching for now to see what develops. There's certainly nothing threatening in Lynchburg at this time. So the three warnings which are on your screen, Pittsylvania County until 5 and Franklin County until 5:15. Current time is now 4:53 as you're watching our live coverage. Will, let's go back down to Franklin County and also, Will, the Smith Mountain Lake sky camera, were you able to get that one? Or
I'm still working
You're still
on it.
working on it. Okay, Will is working on maneuvering the Smith Mountain Lake camera. And yeah, Will, look at this.
Oh, you want, my bad. Sorry.
Go back and loop this here for a little bit. I'm wondering if this did actually produce a small
that looked
tornado.
like it had a little bit of a debris ball.
See right through here how there's this part of almost this appendage dangling out of the storm. There's at least some significant rotation that is occurring.
Actually, hey, George.
Yes.
Let me...
Right through here. So it is possible that there could be a tornado out of this one here.
There was a pixel...
This is a different mode of the
right
radar.
there. Look at that pixel right there.
That we're looking at. So we're wondering was this a tornado or not? Right through here. Is this some type of debris or is this some type of radar anomaly? It's hard to tell by looking at this. Either way, really need to be in your place of tornado shelter along Highway 40. Will, let's zoom out a little bit so that we can see Smith Mountain Lake on the map, and let's stop the animation. Do you show this moving northeast at 15 miles an hour, or are you seeing it moving a little bit faster?
I've had all of these moving at 20 just to give
Okay.
everybody extra time.
20 is good on this one here. Would you pull a storm track then from this cell, almost looks like it's moving in a straight line to the north and east, so that we can get some times located? Okay, Dudley Elementary, we mentioned that a little bit earlier. If you live near Dudley Elementary, which is on the west side of Smith Mountain Lake, it is going to be near you at 5:10. Out of the country, there is the Halesford United Methodist Church. Halesford United Methodist Church, UMC. That is at 5:20. We'll see that cell near you. Again, Westlake Corner, 5:22, and eventually toward Davis Mill. That's getting a bit closer toward Bedford. But Davis Mill, we will see it crossing that area near 5:45.
And George.
Possible tornado. Yes, Mr. Stafford.
Just so everyone is aware, this particular area of Smith Mountain Lake that this is moving towards is a very, very highly busy and populated part of Smith Mountain. This is right there by the Bridgewater Plaza. Is right there by all of those shopping centers in
Homestead
southern
area.
Bedford County, and this is where a lot of boats are. So this is probably one of the more populated sections of the lake that this thing is moving towards. Also, we do have a new tornado warning. It is for this cell in Henry County.
Right there. That was the one that looked like, that one also had some decent rotation with it as well near Leatherwood.
Yes.
So let's reset here and let's take a look at the three different storms with the tornado warning. Thomas Battle is now going to be running the radar for us. And so Thomas, let's reset quickly here at now 4:56 on your Sunday afternoon. I'm George Flickinger. You've heard Will Stafford, Thomas Battle. We are tracking these tornado warned storms and we've been on for over an hour now. We have these warnings here. We'll watch these as they make their way toward Bedford County, the rest of Pittsylvania County, and Campbell County. Those would be the next places that we will be watching. Thomas, let's go back to Pittsylvania County. And this cell, unfortunately, it's moving across one of the same areas that was just hit by that tornado on Friday. It was that EF2 rated tornado. You can see right in here. Thomas does have some new info for us. Yes, sir?
I will say the National Weather Service has just said that the rotation with this particular storm is weakening and they're not planning to reissue. But of course, the warning is still in place for another 3 minutes. But just keep in mind, yeah, this one, they are not planning on reissuing it for the moment.
When I'm looking at this, it just looks very elongated,
It does.
which the energy is basically kind of stretched out. Switch it over to the wind, where we're looking for tornado spin, and let's see what we find. Yeah, this, I could just real quickly look at this and say, yeah, this is not producing a tornado at this time to the west of Chatham. So that is some good news. This is near Jones Mill and also near and north of Dry Fork Road. I do not see a tornado out of this. Still have to watch it as it makes its way toward northern Pittsylvania County, but no tornado from that storm. Let's go back to the Smith Mountain Lake tornado warning. And also, Thomas, if you could pull the tornado warning box on top of the data so that we could see that a little bit easier, if you could adjust that in the layers. But So right through here, actually, this is the tornado warning in Franklin County. This one, right through here, there is at least broad rotation with this. This cell will lift to the north and east, and you can see where it's crossing right here, north of Glade Hill. And eventually, we are going to see this one making its way towards Smith Mountain Lake, and also the North Shore area. Get into your place of tornado shelter in case a tornado does form from this storm. Right now, we're putting the radar spin looking tool. When I look at this, I do not see a tornado on the ground this second. I see some broad rotation. We have some green here, kind of this maroonish red here, then this gray in the middle. This means that the storm is mildly rotating, but does not look like a tornado, at least right now. Sometimes these can spin up pretty quickly, but right now this looks like a broad area of rotation. Thomas, take us to the northern tornado-warned storm.
You mean the
I'm sorry,
Henry County?
I'm getting my directions mixed up. The southern one, this is one toward Leatherwood. Yeah, right through here. This one doesn't look quite as well organized as it did a few minutes ago. Switch this over back to the tornado rotation mode. Broad rotation showing up along Highway 57 near Leatherwood. This is just northeast of Martinsville. This is about halfway between Martinsville and Pittsylvania County as you get closer toward Callens. I don't see a tornado this second, but I still would avoid driving between Callens, also toward the Grady area, and Martinsville near the Henry, Pittsylvania County line. I would avoid driving that section in case a tornado does end up spinning up. This tornado warning right through here. This one is in effect until 5:30, as you can see. So that is what those couple of warnings look like. I'm going to also pull up a different looking map here for you, just to show you what these two warnings look like for our entire ABC 13 viewing area. And we'll put Rocky Mount on this map for perspective. So if you're in Rocky Mount, the cell just west or just east of you, and west of Smith Mountain Lake, that one is going to avoid Rocky Mount, but it's close enough to where you're watching it. Notice that we do not actually have a tornado watch in effect for our viewing area. That'll be a discussion for another day. But as of right now, we do have two storms with tornado warnings for northern Henry County and also for Franklin County, as you can see. We'll monitor these as they make their way toward Bedford and Lynchburg. Right now I am standing next to Thomas Battle in the Weather Center. You're monitoring some of the National Weather Service feeds and some of the chat right now. We've had 13, it's either 12 or 13 tornadoes, more tornadoes than I have fingers, so I can't count that high. But how many tornadoes confirmed have we had out of this so far?
None so far. They've not had any reports. There's
That's
been
good news.
No spotters have said anything. There have been no reports. No reports of damage yet either, and we saw at least reports of damage from some of the storms the other day.
This cell here, this one is the most interesting one, and I'm curious if there is a tornado. It's not a very large storm, but it does have a area of rotation and almost this little tail to the east of Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount, you're good. This cell is staying to your east, but let me stop this, and I'm going to put this back into the velocity mode. Yeah, it is. There is rotation there. Just by looking at this rotation alone, and this is near Brooks Mill Road, northeast of Rocky Mount. If somebody actually was at Smith Mountain Lake, say the Westlake Corner area or North Shore, if there was a tornado, you'd probably actually be able to see this. This is going to bypass most of the water. In fact, I'm going to take the data off for just a second so you can see where Smith Mountain Lake is located and this warning in relation to Smith Mountain Lake. So right along the far western part of the lake toward Manita, Westlake Corner, and North Shore. This will eventually be crossing and passing near State Highway 122. That's where this tornado-warned storm is located.
George, I have the Smith Mountain Lake camera back. What direction would you like me to point it in?
Let's point, so we have a live camera at Smith Mountain Lake. Will is going to point it basically straight to the west. Yeah, in that. So Will is going to work on getting that for us. We're looking pretty close to the west right now. And actually in the, let's see, Yeah, I don't see an obvious tornado, but it may be a little bit too far away. Maybe a little bit too far away. So now, in that middle box in your TV, if there is actually a tornado from this, we may be able to see it from this view. I don't see one at this point. It would be coming from the left side of the screen. I do not see a tornado on the ground, but the radar presentation is still very, very impressive out of this. So we'll take the radar here back full screen. Let me stop the animations. I'm going to pull some more storm tracks on this. And Will, you had this moving northeast
I have it
at
moving
20?
at 20, yeah.
Okay, that is a good pace. So we'll pull the storm track in this direction. Also notice that we're now seeing Stanton River High School show up in the storm track. So as far as Dudley Elementary, remain in your place of tornado shelter. Let's say you live within 5 minutes of Dudley Elementary, be in your tornado safety spot, and let this tornado warning storm pass, and then it will be safe to emerge because we don't see anything immediately behind it. Dudley Elementary, it's tornado safety time for you. From there, Manita, Westlake Corner, Will's talking about all the shopping areas, the plaza, a lot of restaurants, a lot of people like to keep their boats very populated on the west side of Smith Mountain Lake. Be in your place of tornado shelter in case the storm does produce a tornado, because we are seeing some occasional frames of the radar where it does look like there's definite rotation at cloud level. And Stanton River High School, of course, that's in Bedford County, that is going to be closer to you here in the next 30 minutes. They're about 30 minutes away. So that tornado warning is in effect for another 11 minutes. So y'all were mentioning this earlier, how the National Weather Service would cancel the tornado warning for Pittsylvania County. They have indeed done that. This cell just west of Chatham no longer has a tornado warning on it. I'm going to do a velocity scan. I don't think I'm going to see anything that surprises me here. And that just looks like an area of heavy rain. There's nothing suspicious rotating within that cell. That looks like just a normal heavy downpour, gully washer, as Will likes to say, that you probably wouldn't want to drive through along 57. That's between the Hollywood community and Chatham. So, but no tornado warning. That is a good thing. Let's go back to Smith Mountain Lake and update you on the progress of this storm. Will, I know you're still checking.
Yeah,
Looks like you do have some
Before
info.
you check in on the Smith Mountain Lake storm,
Yes,
go
sir.
down to the Henry and Pittsylvania County storm.
Okay.
They're starting to see some more spin with that one. The one that they've already got the warning on right now, they might extend that
Okay.
up into portions of Pittsylvania County. And actually, can you pop on the velocity?
Will's talking about this particular cell here, and also Will and Thomas. We're going to need to watch this one here. This would be near Axton along 58. This one doesn't have a tornado warning on it, but this one would actually be in a better position to have
that is
some
the
inflow.
one they're also watching. That I was going to say, if you pop on the velocity, you could see the one that's kind of straddling the line there of Henry and Pennsylvania County. They're going to be watching that one.
So this is the first storm in Franklin County, Henry County, near Franklin County, that has a tornado warning. There is some rotation with it. It's not the most exciting rotation you've ever seen, which is a good thing, but there's at least broad rotation with it. And we are seeing that storm you were just talking about, Mr. Stafford, some mild spinning at cloud level, but nothing that looks like, oh wow, this is an obvious tornado on the ground. And also we've had so many tornado warnings and so many cloud spinnings, rotating spots. I want to do a look on this myself to see if I'm seeing anything that the National Weather Service is missing. Around Chatham, you're good. I don't see anything to worry about for you. There's no organization here. Gretna will monitor for you, of course. Right now, you are in good shape. And as far as Smith Mountain Lake, there is rotation continuing. This is near, we were just telling you about, near Dudley Elementary. Remain in your place of tornado shelter at Dudley Elementary as this is moving right across the extreme western part of Smith Mountain Lake, the North Shore area, Highway 122, getting really busy through here. Manita, that is all moving your direction. Let me animate this here and see the trajectory. Will, when I'm looking at this, when this cell was south of Rocky Mount, say 30 minutes ago, there was some significant rotation. It doesn't look quite as well organized, but it's still spinning, as you can see. Would you agree with that?
Oh, it's definitely still spinning.
Yeah.
It's not spinning at nearly the level that it was. It's going to be very interesting to see if anybody, whether the Weather Service or whether we here at ABC 13 get any reports of anything, because I think it is possible that something crossed over Route 40.
And this is again the mode we normally don't put on television because it just looks like your TV is freaking out when you're seeing this with all these crazy colors on here. But this maroonish color, we're looking for something that doesn't belong. Like if we saw this random
Blue
spot that was showing up within the red, because the radar can, and that would actually be
bad.
Yeah, that would be debris. Metal is very reflective. If that was in the air. I don't see an obvious signature, but it's one of those where, I can't rule it out either. Let's go back live to our shot here that has the Smith Mountain Lake sky camera. And so if there was a tornado, it would be getting close to where we would actually be able to see this.
I can see that we're starting to see the cloud.
Lower. Could you, Will, adjust the camera a little bit to the left, which would be maybe looking a little bit southwest of due west, because I'm curious what type of a lowering that we could see, and we would zoom into that as well certainly if we do see something that ends up being tornadic out of this. And I'm going to pull up go full screen with the Skycam. So right now, this is a live look. This is near Vista Point at Smith Mountain Lake, for those of you not familiar with, or if you are familiar with the lake. This camera is on the southeast side of the lake. So we're turning our camera to the west and southwest. Takes a minute or two to dial into it.
It's not letting me move. I
It's
think
the image. Yeah, the image is frozen. The image is frozen at least this second. So we will come back to that if we're able to get that back. Sometimes you lose the data here for just a second. So we'll get that corrected. Big picture: 2 tornado warnings. One on the west side of Smith Mountain Lake and one to the northeast of Martinsville. This map, it may be a little bit easier for you to see in relation to Smith Mountain Lake where the tornado warning is located. And this tornado warning storm will continue lifting in this direction here towards Smith Mountain Lake, or actually mostly the west side of Smith Mountain Lake, Manita, Westlake, North Shore, and State Highway 122. This is in Franklin County. From there, this cell would make its way into Bedford County. No tornado has been confirmed from this, but at cloud level, we do have rotation. And going back and looking at this, we can still see that we have a rotating area, not the strongest rotation that any of us have ever seen, but certainly enough that it does have our attention on the west side of Smith Mountain Lake. So that tornado warning continues for another 4 minutes, and we'll see the decision that the National Weather Service ends up making with that. This other tornado warned storm looks less impressive than it did. There is weak rotation near Leatherwood in Henry County. That will make its way toward Callens. And this will stay north of Tunstall. Tunstall High School, this is going to stay west and north of you, so this is not a concern for you. And this other area of rotation, this is near Axton. There's broad rotation. I wouldn't be surprised if they were, say, driving this region here along State Highway 58 east of Martinsville, I wouldn't be surprised if they did see a lowering, but that does not look like an obvious tornado to me right now. Broad rotation, certainly enough to watch, but it does not look like that is a tornado on the ground right now. We'll see. What information are you pulling up?
I'm not seeing anything. Well, actually, we just had a new tornado warning issued, and that's going to take it right up to the Franklin County, Bedford County line.
Yes, sir.
That might possibly be the smallest tornado warning I've seen in a while. That one goes until, I believe it's 5:45 I think.
That is, yes, 5:45.
now
That
that-
is the new warning. So
Now that includes North Shore. That does include probably the Booker T. Washington National Monument. That includes places like Bridgewater Plaza. All of these are on the Franklin County side of the lake. If you're on the Bedford County side of the lake, probably, again, a very good idea to be very mindful about where we are because as soon as this thing crosses over the lake, it's into Bedford County.
So Thomas, what we're going to do right now, I'm going to have you take over some of the live coverage. If we're not having a tornado warning at 6 o'clock, I'll be having some new info for our viewers. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to let you cover here the tornado warning here for a bit.
All right, so we're still looking at the storm. This is the brand new warning that we were just talking about. The track a little more easterly, but moving towards North Shore, the Westlake corner as well. Again, this track looks like it's still going about 10, 15 miles an hour. We've been trying to give people a little extra time just as a heads up as this makes its way through. But that rotation, you can still see that little spin here, still evident enough on the radar where we do want people to keep that in mind out ahead of it, where we have not had a confirmed touchdown. There have been no spotters that have seen one, but there's enough rotation there on the radar where the National Weather Service believes that there could be very easily. And this is very close to the Smith Mountain Lake area, just on the edge there of Smith Mountain Lake, actually leading alongside. So looks like it's going to be avoiding that area. But we'll see if we can actually pick up anything later.
By the way,
Dudley Elementary School, yeah.
I was going to say Bridgewater Plaza is right about here. And that is a very, very popular spot at about 5:30 on a Sunday.
So we've got that coming, what would you say? That's probably going to be about 5:35, 5:40, you think?
Let's see, Westlake Corner around 5:27, so yeah, right around 5:30-ish.
Yeah, so we've still got good 15, 20 minutes till it's going to be there. Moneta, longer way out, still about 30 minutes for that. The rotation, it is still evident, still very noticeable on radar. I'd say right now, between the two, that's the best looking one. The other warning to our south is only going to last for another 15 minutes. But this one that they have, again, just reissued is still going to be lasting a little longer as it moves towards Westlake Corner. This one will last another 30 minutes before it'll be expired. But if you are in the path of this storm, we've been saying this
Thomas, I think I got
times.
the.
Go ahead.
I think
oh, yeah,
that's
let me get out of the way.
Yeah, it's back now.
Is it back up?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right, so I'm going to move it a little bit to the left.
Nothing that's like sticking out right now. There's definitely some low clouds out there. Again, we would probably expect it would be very far off on the horizon. Does not look like it's going to be moving over the lake, but we'll be keeping a close eye on it regardless. But you can still see the storm here just moving into the Westlake Corner area within the next 10, 15 minutes. And North Shore, we're looking at our camera, which is over here on the radar. You can see it there.
Our camera's at Vista Point, and we've got it pointed up in the direction
south side of the lake
of Westlake Corner. Again, the actual storm is going to miss our camera. The worst of this storm is going to be up towards Westlake Corner, Bridgewater Plaza, places like that.
And we are seeing a lot of this like low-level spin, so
Also,
it's unlikely we'd be able to see the tornado, but we're at least going to be seeing those clouds in the storms.
Move over to your right there for a minute.
I'm just to get off.
Let me look at this. Look at that right there.
Yeah, nice little hook. It's still kicking, but it is still moving that direction, moving at about 15 miles an hour. And this is definitely the stronger of the two for the moment. Moving towards Westlake Corner in the next 10, 15 minutes, and then Moneta as well. These have been moving slower than the ones that we were dealing with yesterday, on Friday. Days are all mixed up. On Friday, we've got more storms that are hitting a lot of the same spots. Good news is, as these storms move further north, they are going to be moving into less conducive atmosphere, probably a bit more stable air. And here's a really good close-up look. We can name off some of these roads here for you.
So this is about ready to cross over Burnt Chimney Road.
Dudley Elementary School. It's going to be in that area in the next few minutes. And then we've got Wicken.
Now we're going up through residential sections.
Yep.
There's a. This is Sleepy Hollow Drive. That's a subdivision down there because the North Shore's over here, and then it's going to cross up. So this is Scruggs Road right in here. This is Scruggs Road. This is a very popular road.
Wellspring
this is
Road.
not far away from that.
Hill-
And then it's going to get up in towards 122 in the Westlake Corner area. And like we said, Bridgewater Plaza is right here. And that's probably the...
There's a lot of rain already happening there. All right, so yes, let's keep it on this one. Can we switch this back over to velocity? Because I want to see how this looks. This is really starting to hook up a little bit. Yeah, there's the bright spot where you can tell where the green and the red come together. That's that main spot we want to watch. So right about here, that's what we're watching, where it gets really bright green and then switches to red. That's where the spin would be happening. That's where you would have your best chance for a tornado to be on the ground, moving towards the northeast. We've been saying it a while. It's missing Smith Mountain Lake, North Shore area. Looks like it's going to be avoiding you, but it is moving towards Westlake Corner and moving that direction 10 to 15 miles an hour. There's a lot of rain out ahead of it, so good news for at least this system is that often will mean the rain moving in means people will be pushed inside. Even if you don't know that there's a tornado warning for your area, that rain hopefully will get a couple people inside and maybe even off the roads. If you know people in this area, Westlake Corner area, Manita, if they were heading out to Smith Mountain Lake today, give them a ring, let them know, hey, this is going on. And you can relay the information that we're giving you. But right now, this storm is still expected to keep going for another half hour. We've got the tornado warning lasts for another 25 minutes. And it is moving relatively slowly, but towards Westlake Corner. This is in Franklin County. We've had multiple tornado warnings already today. And unfortunately, we're getting close to the number of tornado warnings that we talked about on Friday. So another very active, very busy day. But these came a little bit quicker, not quite as drawn out as the ones from Friday. Here's a little track for what we're expecting timeline-wise. Halesford United Methodist Church, Westlake Corner,
And you know, Thomas,
about
actually,
5:30.
I don't know if the track, because there's not...
I was about to say, this is
I
not...
think the bigger thing is we just got to start reading off some roads here. So this is going to cross over Burnt Chimney Road now.
There's a new scan, yeah.
This is moving up towards places like Wickline Road, near Pea Ridge Lane, Guilford Road. If we called your road right now, you need to be in your safe place. Further up the line, so to speak, it's going to cross over Scruggs Road, I'd say probably in the next 5-10 minutes or so, maybe a little longer than that, but at least 5 to 10 minutes or so in Scruggs Road. And when I say Scruggs Road, I mean pretty much from 122. You got there's a miniature golf place. I think there's a shopping center there. I think it's called Lake something or the other. We're talking primarily south of that, but this is going to be moving over Scruggs Road. It's going to come real close to the Westlake Corner intersection. There is numerous shopping facilities there. There's a convenience store there. The Kroger near Westlake Corner is there. It should miss the Kroger because it's going to be on the other side of Scruggs Road, but it's there. There's an old Food Lion that's right at this particular intersection. Right here, it's going to come very close to that. And then it's going to go up 122. So areas up the line from that. There's some churches up there, and then of course the big one is Bridgewater Plaza. And unfortunately, this has a real potential to get dangerously close to Bridgewater Plaza. Again, we don't have any confirmation that anything is actually on the ground or has been on the ground, but we do know that this is a very nasty signature on radar. We've been tracking it now for a few hours. We have seen some signs that there might be something there. And in a situation like this, especially after what we saw over the weekend or on Friday, it's better to be safe than sorry. So if you are in this tornado warning for Franklin County at 5:45, if you are near the places that I just talked about, please get into some shelter right now. If you're at Bridgewater Plaza, I really want you in your safe place right now.
Let's stick with this one. I just want to mention, though, the other warning for the storm that was near Axton, the one that's in Henry County. It's starting to leave the warning, but I'm just going to try and keep an eye on the chat and see if anything else is going to come from that, because it is leaving the polygon, and we'll see whether or not they issue it. It's much weaker than this one, though.
I just, by the way, reached out to my friend at Mango's, which is at Bridgewater Plaza. They are seeking shelter.
Okay, excellent.
He also told me that he was almost done with his adult beverage, and that he is seeking shelter.
Excellent. That's what we want to hear. If you've got people that are in the area, Westlake Corner, Smith Mountain Lake, also very popular, obviously, over the weekend. Now's a good time to go ahead and get off the lake. If you know somebody that was going to be out there, give them a call. let them know, hey, they need to be getting off the lake. I know there's not a lot of lightning or much, if any, lightning that's happening with these storms, but it's not the lightning with these storms that we're concerned about. We're seeing strong storms that have enough updraft, have enough spin where they can create a tornado. Even some high winds and hail, this seems pretty likely with some of these. It does look like it's a very broad rotation for the storm to the south, but this one is a little stronger. Still looks like it's moving through Westlake Corner, and it's going to be moving towards the northeast. Still 10 to 15 miles an hour. Again, just to let you know, this is lasting for another 20 minutes. We have a tornado warning in place. And once again, we have to break into programming. I know it's not what everybody wants to be seeing on their TVs again today, but we have another day with active storms going through. And you can still see that system just trying to spin up, going towards Scruggs Road and towards Westlake Corner. A little ways off, still about 10 to 15 minutes or so until it's going to be getting into the Westlake Corner. These are moving slower than the ones that we had on Friday, which is unfortunately not good news, because it's more likely that if we do have a tornado on the ground, that it can spin in one spot for longer. They don't move quite as fast. A little more dangerous when it comes to their speed. We'd like for them to get moving and get out a little quicker. But
I'm going to be honest with you, Thomas. I really think that from a storm structure standpoint, basically, when we say storm structure, we're basically talking about this mode of the radar here. Structurally speaking, these have been very structurally sound. They've been very impressive to look at on radar.
Yes, they have, consistently. I'm looking at
They have expired the tornado warning for
Okay,
Henry
that's what I'm about
County,
to say.
by
I
the
was
way.
wondering if they were going to, because yeah, it's supposed to expire, and the storm is already moving out. That's this warning here over Henry County, outside of Martinsville. But again, oh my goodness, there's still more storms down to the south. And with the amount of spin up we've seen with a lot of these, it's just something we're going to keep watching. Right? Okay, nothing sticks out, but still some brighter colors, so we are going to have to keep an eye on those too. That one that we were watching over the line, actually, could you bring us in a little closer to that one? Yeah, where it is. Yeah, because this is actually, I believe, is that it? Yeah, that's the, yeah, it's still very, there's still some rotation there, but it is unfortunately still a possibility. And that's actually the one that we were watching that was over the state line, not the state line, the county line, a little while back. What's left of the warning is now well to the north. This is a different storm. But yeah, still something we'll have to watch moving through Soapstone. This is the one the National Weather Service was just talking about a few minutes ago that they're going to be watching for the next probably 20 minutes, I'd say, for a little more rotation. So that's something to keep an eye on. The only active warning we have in place for the moment is this tornado warning that is moving through the Westlake area in the next few minutes. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing. From what I'm seeing, it does look like the rotation's broadening out.
Yes.
It's not tight anymore, and it does look like hopefully this is going to continue to weaken. As I mentioned, the further north these storms go, the less conducive the atmosphere. They have a little less energy. It's not quite as energetic for them. The atmosphere is what we call stable. It doesn't really help these storms grow, which is great news. We want them to die out. We want them to choke off and just fizzle out. And it does look like this storm is starting to weaken. It's still slowly moving towards the Westlake Corner area, but probably moving in there in the next few minutes. And we've been saying it several times, even if you're not getting a tornado, you might get some high wind, you might get hail alongside it. Those can both cause plenty of damage as well as that storm tries to go in. I'm just trying to keep a close eye on these other ones to our south. So if we've been saying this for a little while because there's been a lot of rain out ahead of the Westlake Corner area of this storm. So you're probably already aware that there is a storm moving towards you if you're just tuning in. It's 5:27. I'm meteorologist Thomas Battle. We've got Will Stafford, George Flickinger all here. We've been watching these storms. We've been on air for about 2 hours now and watching storms that are developing in a very similar fashion to what we had happen on Friday. These storms moving a little slower. We've had almost the same number of storms producing tornado warnings as we did on Friday. However, there have not been any confirmed tornado warnings that have produced tornadoes that have been observed or noted by an observer or a trained spotter. We're still seeing enough rotation in the atmosphere as they're moving northward, though, to produce these new warnings, and that's what we're still keeping an eye on. For the moment, the Westlake Corner area has a lot of rain, has a weak rotation moving towards it. It's enough where the National Weather Service is keeping this warning up as it's moving into that area. But
And it looks like it's about ready to cross over, if there is something there. It looks like it's ready to cross over Scruggs Road. I wonder if I zoom in. Well, it's not going to let me. There's a lot of shopping centers over here. In fact, up here is where the Kroger is. So this is probably going to miss that.
yeah, it looks like it's going to be staying maybe just over the south edge. I would say it's going to be taking this track right
Yeah.
here.
So I tell you what time it is. I'm going to draw it from like right there.
Go for it.
Well, actually, if I can.
That's not